Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check these headlines out we got for you today. Hong Kong, U.S. Congress. We got the XRP Ledger and XUMM wallet, and it's very good news, ladies and gentlemen. European Investment Bank, and how about this? In a G7 nation, digital bonds, baby. Yeah, CBDC headway. Ripple lays out 2023, and you're going to like it. Ripple buyback equals Ripple Bank. We got something for you to see on that, and we got this for you, too. Artificial intelligence comes up with a price for Swift and XRP together. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Good morning. Bitcoin, 23,000, slightly over. Ethereum, 1,500 plus. Tether market cap, 67.7 billion, they say. 40 cents per XRP. The market is at 1.08 trillion. We're up 0.7%. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you about the artificial intelligence you can get into. The ChatGPT, the world is seeing where things are going. Samba Nova on Link2, sold out. There you go. PolySign's still available. Ripple's still available. Uphold's still available. Link2 itself is still available, and so many others. Unstoppable Domains, shout out to them. Let me tell you, but for how long? You never know. Head on a swivel, click the link to the sponsor, check them out. I'm telling you, it doesn't last long, these things. You got to be accredited, but make sure you check it out. Bipartisan group for U.S. senators is pushing Silvergate Capital to provide more details about what it knew about FTX's alleged misuse of customer funds. Look, here's what I want to know. While Congress is getting the moral high ground here, what's going on here? I demand answers. Well, you know what? So do the people, Elizabeth Warren. Let's talk about getting some answers about why you felt it was necessary to collude with the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, in such an unethical manner. Worthless. Resign. All of them. Vote them out. Every single time. Care who it is. Both sides of the aisle. Hong Kong will not tolerate algorithmic stablecoins and new regulation. Well, good for them. I think Hong Kong's got their finger on it, right? Yeah, algorithmic stablecoins are not working here. Not here. Oh, I love it. This is fantastic news. Shout out to XRP Ledger team and XRP Ledger Labs. Bitstamp introduces euro-backed IOUs on the XRP Ledger with XUMM wallet integration. Come on in. Yeah, we'd say when the team are working over there. Yeah, ain't no lunch. I don't even think they take lunch. They're just working. The European Investment Bank, now this was exciting to me. The European Investment Bank launches its first ever pound sterling denominated digital bond using blockchain technology. Come on in. Look, I'll tell you what the exciting thing here is that the pound sterling being inside of a G7 nation is exciting to me. Denominated digital bonds on blockchain technology is exciting to me because bond market is the backbone to the money system. Knee bone connected to the leg bone. Shout out to Anthony Welfare on this one here. Ripple Advisor. He says the growth of CBDC trials and tests are building momentum. And with each, there are distinct solutions that will ultimately require interoperability. Come on in. Between different technologies and protocols, existing payment schemes, and across borders, Welfare said. And not only that, but then Ripple comes into the game and says, what does 2023 have in store for CBDCs and NFTs and crypto and beyond? I say, oh, do tell, Ripple. And they do. They're talking about focus on real world applications in 2023, and there's only 11 months left of this year. Global CBDC pilot programs. Oh, this is getting exciting. And NFTs that solve for efficiency and transparency and ownership. Let's take a quick look here because this is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. Right here is what I want to focus on. A focus on real-world applications will also help propel the coming age of CBDCs. Cindy Young, managing director of Europe, says the potential for CBDCs to amplify the role of central banks and boost financial inclusion will lead more non-Eurozone European nations to announce CBDC pilots in 2023. James Wallace, Vice President of Central Bank Engagements, expects to see more CBDC pilots programs around the world in the year ahead, with an emphasis on interoperable CBDC solutions that enhance cross-border payments. Now, before I read any further, I'm asking you, would Ripple even be discussing this at a Ripple Insights if they weren't involved somehow? You think Ripple's discussing this because they're going to be on the sidelines and watch everyone else win and not them? Is that what? No, that is not the answer, right? The shift to utility extends to NFTs as well. While the first wave of NFTs centered around digital art and collectibles, there is already a nascent second wave exploring real-world use cases, and this is what I'm waiting for, as real estate and carbon markets. Ripple CTO David Schwartz says that these types of applications that solve for efficiency and transparency and ownership will determine which use cases stick and whether NFTs are here to stay. I don't think you could say it any better. Because, look, I get it for art, intellectual property. I dig all that. But when you start coming in and disrupting the real estate sector, my, oh my, oh my. That is something I'm very, very excited to watch take place, too. No doubt about it. We'll keep an eye on it. Then there was this. We covered this yesterday, and this is going to take us into the next piece, segment that we're going into here. Stay with me, I'm asking very nicely, as we move through the hypotheticals here. Ripple continues to buy back XRP for on-demand liquidity. Once most of the secondary market is bought up for on-demand liquidity, the price goes rocket, is what he's saying here. Shout out to Riz for that. This is the thing that we covered, and I've been covering for a couple years now. Ripple stopped selling to the secondary market. They call it programmatic sales. They stopped that in Q4 of 2019. Ripple has also become a buyer of XRP in the secondary market, where you and I can only get it, and expects to continue to undertake purchases as on-demand liquidity continues to gain global momentum. I ask you, I do not know the outcome of the case. I hope that XRP is able to go back on hundreds of exchanges, every one that exists, in fact. But I remind you that it is Gary Gensler and the SEC that are in the process of crushing the exchanges, are they not? Now, I know the knee-jerk reaction is, well, that's not the rest of the world. They can't tell the rest of the world what to do, Brad. Well, you're absolutely right. They can't. But I'll tell you this, the SEC is doing a pretty good job at squashing a $3+ trillion market down to $1 trillion, sometimes below that, just from the good old U.S. So what is it your point is again? I'll tell you what mine is. If we get a ruling in this case that does not allow XRP to be relisted, at least here in the U.S., we know Ripple has not been selling it to anyone who's not an on-demand liquidity partner, but they're buying it back from where we get it from. If it is truly official after a ruling that there will be no more had to the secondary market, wouldn't this kick in the flywheel effect to buy it up, the remainder float, from the exchanges itself? Let's complement it with this. This is an older video back when Ryan Zagone was at Ripple, which has not been for a few years now. But look at this video and what is said. That is Augustin Carstens from the BIS sitting on stage. They're at the Brookings Institute here. I want you to listen as they talk about fiscal and monetary policy. Ryan Zagone from the audience asked a very important question at his time at Ripple. And listen to the response from this gentleman after Augustin is done talking, and listen to what he says. Ripple could become a bank. Maybe it's RippleNet. Maybe it's not Ripple. But I tell you what, banks have presidents. And up until now, Ripple hasn't had a president. But they got one now, and her name is Monica Long. I am speculating.
Hi, my name is Ryan Zagone. I'm from a company called Ripple. We use blockchain and virtual currency as a way to connect fiat currency more efficiently. It's a product for financial institutions. So it's an enterprise use case. We're using digital currency as an FX tool as opposed to a currency itself. As new enterprise use cases for DLT and digital currency emerge, how do we balance policy to allow these new use cases to take root while also capturing risk we see in the market today?
That's a great question. Who wants to take a bite of that? Go ahead.
I think there are certain principles that need to be upheld when doing regulation. Is that the same risk, same treatment? We have to really slice down what you're trying to do with technology and identify what is the underlying financial transaction you want to do. And if there is already a regulatory treatment, it has to be the same. Just because it's done differently through technology, that, at least from my own point of view, does not justify to give it preferential or adversarial treatment. I think it has to be a level playing field, and we as regulators, we have to be, as we say, technology neutral.
Neutral. Okay.
Listen here.
No, it's sort of like saying that, okay, if you look like a bank, if you smell like a bank, if you walk like a bank, then you're a bank, regardless of what you think yourself.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Augustin says.
Look, I don't think you could say it any better. And if I could just come back to this. Ripple buying back off the secondary market, to me, is a micro version of what the Fed does. Exercising monetary policy. They have $1 billion release that's available to them every month. They very calculated and wisely handle that escrow release. Operating expenses to certain entities that need it to grow the ecosystem. And then the rest goes on the back end, the new escrow contract. To me, this is the exercise of monetary policy. The buying it back up, loose float off the retail where it's only speculative. And if they want to leave speculation and trading in this particular asset after a ruling, they could do it at an accredited level, accredited investor level, where it would probably be less volatile and more stable because of the larger commitment to funds. I'm speculating. I don't know the answer. Truthfully, I think XRP is a virtual currency, and I'd love to see him take the boot off the back of the neck of Ripple and XRP and get it back on the exchanges and let everybody in the world have it and hold it. But it isn't up to me, though, is it? Now let's take a look at this. Well, you talk about a fun hypothetical exercise here. Plan XRP's done it.
I asked ChatGPT what the price.
He's asked ChatGPT what the price would be involving an X asset, just as an example, like, X plus Y, right? You know what I mean? So it's just a fun example of what ChatGPT answers and how you can interact with it. Obviously, it's a hypothetical. It's not factual, right? But it is interesting that ChatGPT's artificial intelligence is remarkable, and the way it formulates a price over the said X asset, and I think you're going to like it. Take a look.
Price of XRP would be if it took a % of Swift's market volume. Here are the results. Swift processes $5 trillion a day in transaction volume as an electronic funds transfer service.
Correct. It processes an average of over $5 trillion per day in transaction volume.
What is 1% of SWIFT's 24-hour volume in dollars?
If SWIFT processes $5 trillion in 24-hour transaction volume, 1% of that amount would be $50 billion.
What would the price of Asset X be if it had a $20 billion market cap, a 24-hour volume of $627 million, and a circulating supply of 50 billion units?
Price of X equals 40 cents per unit.
Let's assume Asset X took 5% of SWIFT's 24-hour volume. How much would the unit price of Asset X be?
If Asset X took 5% of SWIFT's 24-hour volume, the price of X would be $5 per unit.
Let's assume Asset X took 100% of SWIFT's 24-hour volume. How much would the unit price of Asset X be?
If Asset X took 100% of SWIFT's 24-hour volume, the price of X would be $100 per unit.
Well,
Just a reminder.
Let me tell you, this is a hypothetical exercise. Shout out to Plan XRB and Riz for sharing it. But I tell you something, I think there's a capability and not capability. I think there's an opportunity, rather, for there to be much larger adoption and acceptance of XRP. And I think it could crush that particular hypothetical, but I'm nonetheless grateful for Plan XRP and Riz for sharing it, and ChatGPT for offering the common breakdown on that, so we could all get a look at just a plain, simple example about it, right? It doesn't mean it's definitive, right? But nevertheless, it is exciting to me to see it. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to see the adoption and use of XRP, where it can absolutely disrupt the financial industry and the central banking system in the most positive, complementing way. That's what I'm here to see. And until then, we're looking right here. Shout out to Eggrag Crypto. XRP he says it is financial advice, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not from me. Historical data is presenting clear correlation between 100 and 300 moving average. He says a bullish cross, XRP goes parabolic. Bearish cross, and XRP is in a bear market. Next bullish cross is on the verge of happening in the future. This is what it looks like right here, ladies and gentlemen. You can see where it happened here, and you're looking at the possibility of it taking place here. We see that we got that line, right? That big trend line there running. So it is absolutely a window to watch to see what takes place as we move forward through the year here. Very exciting times, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Check out all the links below. The great products and services that are trusted, vetted links that you can click on. Pure VPN, help hide your